Welcome to the Eyes on Growth podcast, where we explore the big questions in life and cultivate personal and professional growth. In today's episode, we speak with Annika Brandt about how she changed her life by leaving her corporate job, starting a sustainable dogwear brand, and becoming a breathwork practitioner. We'll also explore the benefits of conscious breathing and how it can positively impact our lives. So sit back, relax, and join us for an insightful conversation with Annika Brandt.
All right.
Let's do the introductions, right? That's what we do. Annika, welcome to the podcast. And Luciano, thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to introduce Annika Brandt. And I want to tell you a bit about Annika before we start.
Okay.
Annika is a very busy lady. She doesn't like the word lady that much, but she is a very busy lady. Annika was first had a corporate job, then quit the corporate job to become a digital nomad.
Okay.
Traveled some parts of the world, decided to stay in Bali. Started a sustainable dog brand and marketing, design and marketing agency. And is now a fully licensed, I don't know if you give out licenses, but breathwork practitioner and
that's right.
coach. And we did today a breathwork session, which is something interesting to explore. And let's do it. So welcome, Annika.
Welcome so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. I have so many questions. Can I give
Yes,
a
sir.
few questions? Why did you make the transition from the corporate world into starting your own business? What was the final trigger?
The final trigger was probably that I was pretty burned out in my job. And a few different other reasons, like me not being happy anymore in the job I had, the life I was living, the city I was in. I was just done and over. There was nothing on the horizon that I could see that would attract me.
Which city was it?
Hamburg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Germany, the cold Germany.
The cold, really Germany. I love Hamburg, don't get me wrong. But just, paired with lots of work, basically for 5.5 years, just overworking. And then in this job for 3.5 years, I was traveling to Düsseldorf every week, flying every week to Düsseldorf, working for a big corporate company, being a consultant, and just completely being burnt out on that and not having the perspective of growing in the job I was doing. I was just done with that. And then I went on a sabbatical to Canada for 3 months, and all by myself. I took a huge camper van and drove around Canada.
It's beautiful.
Awesome. That sounds amazing.
In the winter or in the summer of Canada?
It was basically in the fall. I think I started September.
By yourself for 3 months?
Well, for 5 weeks in the camper. And I'm not gonna lie, after the first 2 days, I was like, fuck this, I'm not gonna do this. I was just so scared because I didn't realize how quiet and empty Canada is. And
it's huge, no?
It is huge, yeah. And my camper van was also huge, which I didn't realize. It was 25 feet long camper, and driving this.
How much is that in meters?
I don't know. It was like, it was huge. It was like 5, 6, 7, 8 meters maybe.
That's
I
insane.
don't know.
It's like
It's a scary
It's a
thing.
truck. It's basically a truck, exactly.
And what's the truck? I was like, am I allowed to drive this? I don't really know. And then, well, basically, I started in Vancouver and then leaving the city. And I've never really been alone. And then leaving the city in this huge camper. And the first stop was a supermarket where I couldn't find proper parking space. And I was just there, fuck, what am I doing here? Sweating balls. And then
I left the balls out on purpose.
but it was basically that. And then leaving the town, and my first spot where I was parking was just, I don't know, I was just quiet, empty, no people. And the second night, they were like, I arrived at this camping spot with those huge be aware of bears sign.
Oh man.
I brought like a big bottle of pepper spray for bears.
I didn't know that existed. There's pepper spray for bears.
Yeah, it exists.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I went to this outdoor
Does it have
outfit.
a bear on the?
I think, yeah, I mean, it said pepper spray for bears.
Okay.
And I even bought a little bell that I would put on my backpack when I was walking around, just to make constant noise. And I was reading a lot about it.
To attract the bear, or why?
No, to make them aware that I'm coming, because sometimes they don't
So they
hear
get
you.
spooked.
And then, yeah, exactly. And they would just attack you because they're like, what the fuck are you doing here? And a friend also gifted me a book about bears. And like, I was learning about bears because there are two different types, the black and the brown ones. And yeah, I was just scared. I was alone. And there was, at some parts, there was no network. Like, I didn't realize there are parts in this world, there's no network with your phone.
Right.
So I was like, I can't even call anyone if there's something happening. And
Scary as hell, no?
yeah. And I talked to my mom. I was just crying in a cafe. I was like, why am I doing this? Why do I have to prove this? And then my mom was like, well, you don't have to. You don't have to prove anything. You can just, well, turn around and not do it. And I was like, no, you know what? I want to go to Banff. That's my goal. And if I still don't like it, I'm going to turn around. And then I started liking it.
Which I love the story you told, because it's like a metaphor of the courage you need to leave the corporate job and start on your own, no? And that's what I kind of want to explore a little, the courage that is necessary to quit the safety, everything that society has taught you, to quit all these things, this comfort, to start on your own by yourself, which seems to be extremely hard, no? To create a design and marketing agency out of nothing.
I want to know before that, like, did you go in there with a plan? You were like, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to go to Canada, and then, or was it just wide open?
It was just a sabbatical. So I just wanted to like
some air, no?
break out of the norm and just have time for myself, because I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, I just know it doesn't feel right what I'm doing right now, and I just want to take some time for myself. And then going on this trip all by myself, like seeing what I can do and how I would feel on my own. And then also later on, I was working in a ski resort, and I was like, I don't really need much. I just
Still
like
in
time
Canada?
for myself. Yeah. And those 3 months just showed me how much I can rely on myself, and how much I can trust myself, really, and how much I enjoyed it, and that life should be about, well, living and not about working.
That's interesting, because I agree fully. And then I would like to see how you, because now I see you as a person who's very busy, but I think now
Happy
life
busy.
is still for living, but you choose to work and you enjoy your work and you fill your days with work, but something you're actually passionate about that you enjoy, right?
Yeah. So at the point when I quit my job, I also didn't really know what I was doing. I was like, I'll just see how it goes. And I also knew at some point I will need to earn money. So I would just like create my freelancing business with what I've done before. I studied design. So I was like, I'll just go back to design and see how that goes. But I also knew that my priority was my life and like structure everything around it. And I didn't even know that digital nomadic lifestyle existed until I got to Bali. I was like, oh, there's so many people doing that. This is epic.
So you didn't know about digital nomads. You went to Bali, which is like the hotspot for digital nomads, and you just
Found them by
found
chance.
200 other people doing exactly the same. That's awesome in itself.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I didn't do any research. The
Wow.
reason why I went to Bali was because, it was a Sunday. I was sitting on the couch in my apartment. It was quite dark, rainy. And I saw this post of a surf brand that I've been following for quite a while. It was like, looking for an intern in Bali to work on a surf brand. I was like, okay, this is my calling. I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to fucking quit my job.
Brave. Well
And-
done.
That's awesome.
An intern. Let me repeat, intern.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I don't really feel like an intern, but I was like, I just need a purpose to go. And like
An excuse to go.
Yeah,
no?
maybe an excuse, and maybe also some sort of safety, like knowing I know someone that is there that can like, guide me a little bit, and also having my own purpose. Because I mean, I didn't quit my job to not do anything. I knew I wanted to do something, but something that I was passionate about. So it was always about the passion, and like my former job, I was not passionate about.
How was the reaction of your environment, your friends, your family, all the people that saw you quitting your safe, well-paid, I'm imagining, job in Germany to go chase an intern dream in Bali? What did they say?
I can't fully remember, but I think no one was really surprised.
Okay.
Yeah, like my parents, they fully supported it. And like my closest friends, they saw how I was doing and how bad my health was in this job. So I think everyone was kind of happy for me that I'm taking a step back and that I'm making a decision for myself. And even my boss in my former job, he was kind of expecting that. He was like, yeah, I know I can't really offer you what you're looking for. And I just wish you all the luck in the world and you'll find your way. And I was like, okay.
That's so cool, no?
Yeah.
That people support her. Normally, I thought you would have met with a lot of resistance, no?
Very lucky. I think most environments are not
No.
that supportive with
I
these
think-
decisions. Like, I'm going to go to Canada for 3 months, then I'm moving to Bali with an internship. I had a good job. I had a good life, like 5-6 years. Good.
You
But
go,
now
girl.
I'm just, yeah, exactly. Do you? No, that's amazing. Like,
It's very good.
I think everyone, I mean, I was telling a story that I would just go for 6 months and everyone believed me. And no one...
but did you believe yourself as well? Or were you like in the back of your mind already? Like,
You will never see me again.
exactly.
See ya. No, I mean, I didn't have a plan. So
Yeah.
I knew it was something that I wanted to explore.
Yeah.
And I also knew that leaving this job, leaving my hometown was a start for something new, no matter where I was going. So even though I was saying, yeah, I'm going there for 6 months, I think it gave myself the safety of actually leaving and knowing, okay, there is like, I can return. And I also knew that the position I had, the experience I had, if I really wanted to go back to Hamburg and work in a corporate job again,
You could.
I could.
It's a flight
Yeah.
away.
Yeah. I was like, this was my safety. I was like, I'll survive for 6 months and either it turns out great and I'll stay or not. And I just go back.
How long ago was this?
That was 4.5 years ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm asking all these questions because I see many, many people in their life being sad, being desperate in their own corporate jobs, and I don't see them seeing a way out. So my next question would be is which things of your personality, which traits of yourself did you have to grow in order to be successful with your own business? Like what did you have to improve about yourself in order to make it and not be coming home after 6 months with your tail between your legs, you know?
Good question. I think it's a lot about trusting yourself and seeing the potential, I guess, like believing in what's possible. I think these were the biggest trait that I had. I was just convinced I will find a way to live the life I want to live. And you just have to really trust yourself and believe in yourself.
How about self-doubt, loneliness, all these things that I'm guessing you went through all of those, no?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, of course. And I mean, I still have self-doubt and sometimes I am lonely. And then it's just about communicating that and finding an environment and people around you who, support you and hold your back in those times.
And do you think anybody could do this, or is it more for a certain type of people?
I think anybody could do it. For some people, it's much more easy than for others, for sure. But I think everyone can do the shift if they really wanted to.
I think what Annika said, I agree with Annika about, I think your idea is like where there's a will, there's a way. And I think the most important trait, because I had a similar life experience, I also became a digital nomad, but if you really just keep on trying in general, and you try and you try and you try, there's many ways to make money online. There's you don't have to make a lot of money to make to move, for example, to Thailand or Bali or other places which are the cost of living is a lot lower. When you're there, there's often other people doing the same, so you can learn a lot. So I think the most important trait, of course, you have to have certain skills, but you can learn a lot of skills, I think, even. Yeah. I mean, Annika has a design background, but you could even learn how to do things. You could do things being customer service, translator, like all kinds of jobs. If you connect with the right people and you keep on trying and you have some buffer, like if you have some money and a plan and persistence, you should be able to do it. But if you don't have the persistence, you're not gonna ever make it.
So you think the main factor in order to be successful is the persistence?
The belief that Annika says she has is then just the trust in yourself that you can do it, and that has to be trust that's based on actual experience. So if I have no experience, I guess, I don't know, like if you have no experience with anything computer related and you want to become a digital nomad and you have full trust in yourself, but if you just are incapable of handling computers, that trust is misplaced and you're probably it's not going to happen. So if the trust comes from a place of reality, as in Annika worked a job, she knows she can do the job she does well. So based on that, I think she feels like I can do this for myself or for a different company and I'm just going to make it work. So I think the trust, the self-confidence and trust combined, like based on actual real life experience, then you can do it.
But I'm not even talking about digital nomad. I'm talking about, should everybody quit if they're unhappy their corporate job and start their own thing? Because I'm guessing computers limited to a portion of population, right?
Yes.
But I do think that everybody can learn and can be good at something.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're unhappy in your corporate job, if you're unhappy with your boss, your life in general, blah, blah, should you quit and persist and build trust on life experience until you make it?
Yes,
what do you think?
You should always quit. No, I mean,
quit your job.
Quit your jobs right now. No. I mean, it's just about priorities. Like, what's important to you? There's many things. I think, looking at me, I enjoy making money and having a certain lifestyle. At the same point, I could see myself. I was traveling one time in South America, and I think there was like a sheep herder or something walking around. I was like, I could do this. I literally could do this. I'm there, like I'm in the environment. I felt the possibility of leaving everything behind and just becoming a sheep herder somewhere in South America.
Had you read The Alchemist?
Yeah, I've read it, but not then. But I have read it, exactly.
Sneaky.
But the point is, as long as you know what you want, and if it's truly what you want, I think there are still many jobs that don't have the status, that don't have a high pay grade. But even if you, like in Holland, for example, there's many jobs of people working outside and doing like gardening for governmental areas, like that, like taking care of the lawn, doing like outdoor things. I could see myself doing that and be probably happier than in a corporate job. But you have to know that you actually, because most people say they want to do what they want to do, like they follow their passion.
But they don't want to give up anything.
Exactly. So you can do it, but you have to then understand that your life will have to shift significantly and you have to give up a lot of other things. And if you truly have your priorities straight and you want to live a life that's true to your heart, I think you can do it. And I think you should quit your job. Most people, if you feel like that, I mean, if
you feel like shit,
you should do it. But then you also shouldn't be in the illusion that from now on everything's going to be good, and you shouldn't want to have the same amount of money because it's basically an exchange. You cannot have it all, basically.
No.
Most of the time. I don't know.
Eventually,
maybe. I mean, if I look at Annika,
do you have it all?
Damn.
No.
I mean, but I don't know, man. Yeah, that's awesome, man.
But yeah, it's hard to have the pie and wanting to eat it at the same time because it's super hard what you did. I honestly respect it a lot. I respect it in Joshua too. I'm doing it myself, and we're surrounded by people that are doing the same thing, quitting their job, trying to build something by themselves. Can you talk a little bit more maybe about the hard parts? I know I asked this already, but go in a little bit deeper so people kind of know what to expect. Like, what are the shitty parts that nobody talks about? Because everybody says, yeah, be a digital nomad, it's going to be great, you're going to make hard part.
Tax reports.
Oh, yeah.
The hard parts. Well, I mean, at the start, I didn't really know how it all worked. So just like seeing my money leave my bank account and then not making enough money and then being under stress making money, that really frustrated me. And then keeping up the trust that we talked about, keeping it up and actually say, I can still do that. I just have to find new ways. I have to change something. So I think the hardest part for me was really being under a lot of stress, being on my own now, because that is what, some people just don't really expect, that with leaving the job, you leave your safety behind, and that is actually a huge factor.
And it's scary not getting a monthly paycheck, no?
Oh,
No matter
so
the work
scary.
you do.
So scary. So yeah, that was the hardest part. And then asking for help is also a hard part, at least for me. And like being out there, putting myself out there and saying, hey, I have a business now. Constantly basically talking about that to be in everyone's mouth and like everyone's mind that I'm doing what I'm doing right now. So yeah, just constantly I was probably grinding for maybe 2 years and like really working hard and working a lot until I realized that it can also be easier.
How did you realize that?
Well, I was, was it 2 years or 3 years that I actually worked nonstop? I was just not giving myself a break. So I realized I left my corporate job because I was working so much, and then was doing the exact same thing because I was like, I need more money.
It's hard to break the pattern, no?
Oh, so difficult. And then realizing that and actually stepping back from that and completely taking 2 weeks off was also one of the hardest parts, to actually say, 2 weeks, I really have to have holidays. I have to recharge. I have to look at my business from a different angle. And it completely changed my business.
In which way?
Well, I went to this like very lonely island and didn't bring my laptop and was just reading books, a few finance books. I realized I was 31 and I didn't really know anything about finances, and I was not investing in anything. And I just, I was not doing that. I was not interested, and it kind of scared me.
So you were still kind of working?
No, I wouldn't consider that working.
Close.
You're like exchanging.
Romance
reading
novels.
finance on your 2 week break
I need to
from
invest.
work.
I need to make more money.
Exactly.
Well, for me, it didn't feel like working because that was something I was honestly interested in.
Okay.
And I went to like a women's investment talk right before I left to this island, and I just realized that it is actually fun. I just have to find the right literature.
Literature?
Yes,
Yes, sir.
The right books.
You crushed it.
The right books to read to make it fun and approachable. I don't have to have those heavy books that I have to read. And then a friend of mine gave me the book Poor Dad, Rich Dad.
Rich
Dad, Poor Dad.
Read it so many times. Have you?
Such a good book.
You, Joshua, have you read
Yes.
it? Many times, no?
And it was just eye-opening. I was like, I'm in the fucking rat race. I'm in there. And I was like, okay, I have to scale my business. Why am I restricting myself with the design work that I'm doing? I can only have so many clients and I can only raise my rates so much, but then I'm restricted.
Yeah.
But if I build a team around me, I can actually focus on building out the business, growing, and then having other people around me doing the creative work. Because being under stress, trying to grow the business and being creative and doing design work, it's just not working well.
No. It's too much now.
So I was like, okay, I'm just going to find a designer and grow my team. And that completely changed my business.
In that period, did you already start Kali Dogwear Sustainable Dog Brand? Or was that
What's the name again?
Kali Dogwear Sustainable Dog Brand?
It sounds amazing.
No, I don't
it
say
is.
sustainable anymore.
Oh, okay.
I say eco-friendly.
Eco-friendly.
Eco-friendly, I'm sorry.
Not sustainable.
'cause-
Definitely not
yeah.
sustainable.
What's the Instagram on that?
Kali Dogwear. Kali.dogwear. So Kali Dogwear, I started a few months before that because of my dog Kali.
Oh. Can you tell the story about the dog? Because it's a really nice story about
Okay.
how the brand started.
Well, I found Kali 3 years ago. I was at the beach in Bali watching the WSL, the World Surf League. And I went to the toilet and came back, and I had to cross a river on a bridge. And I was like, what's swimming in this river? And there was a guy filming. I was like, this is so weird. Why would a guy film the river that is actually really dirty and not really nice? And then I saw this tiny dog.
Like a puppy?
Sort of puppy, small dog. I was like, it looks like the dog is drowning. So like within a second, I was like, wait, the dog is drowning. Like the dog is not really swimming and enjoying that. So I jumped down from the bridge to the shore, the side of the river. and grabbed her, pulled her out, and asked someone to get a sarong for me, a little towel. And then I had her on my lap, and she was like cold and shaking, and like her muscles were twitching. I was like, oh, poor dog. Fell in the river, almost drowned, and just has to get back to energy. But then like after half an hour, I was like, well, this dog is still shaking. This is a bit weird. So I told my friend, I was like, hey, can we maybe go and like see a vet? Because I think this dog is not doing all right.
You have to send us a picture of the dog. We want to see that dog.
Oh my God, she's so cute.
Everyone's dog is so cute. Like, yeah, she's so cute.
We will put
like
the
a
cuteness
baby.
to the test.
Oh, yeah. So I brought her to the vet, and they were like, yeah, something is off. And they did some tests, and I was like, do every single test that you can do to rule out anything that's happening, or that could possibly be happening. And they were like, well, all tests are negative, which is great, but we realized that she is actually paralyzed.
No.
And I was like, oh my God, I didn't even realize. And they were like, yeah, we highly assume that she was poisoned, and her nervous system is shutting down, and that's why she's paralyzed. So they were just trying to keep her stable and like make her nervous system get better again. And she was in the clinic for 4 days. I visited her every day.
For hours?
Well, yeah, I was just sitting next to her and like holding her little paw. And she could like wag her tail and lift her head a little bit, but other than that, she was paralyzed. I was like, oh God, I was convinced this dog is going to walk again. I was like, I will do anything to help this dog.
You made it your mission.
It was my mission. I was like, this dog has to live. I raised funds, and I had incredible donors. There was one guy, he donated 500 euros just out of nowhere. He was like, where do I send it to? And he sent me 500 euros. I was like, oh my God, I was crying when I received the money. I was like, people actually care. This is insane. And then after 4 days, she got a little bit better, but she was still paralyzed. And then the vet was like, well, why don't you just try acupuncture? I was like, yeah, let's just try it. The vet.
Wow.
And I thought he would just like to try to make more money. And I was like, okay, let's just do it. Whatever. I'm like, at this point, I would try anything. And this acupuncture doctor came, put needles in her bag next to her spine, and then electrocuted her. So like basically,
yeah. Wow. Sent electricity through.
Yes, through the needles.
The needles. Oh wow.
I didn't know this was a thing. Acupuncture for dogs?
Either.
With electricity as well.
Yeah.
That's a good company. Right there. That's a good business.
Yeah, it was intense. And like, she didn't move at all. She didn't react. And I was like, doesn't she feel pain? And he was like, no, her nervous system just doesn't react, which is not a great sign. So we did one session, and we then scheduled another session. But the next day, the vet sent me a video of her sitting in the garden.
No.
And I was crying. I was like, oh my God. And I said, okay, now she's stable. I want her home. I want to fully be there for her, give her all the love. Because I mean, the vet is just not a nice environment. And I brought her home. And the second acupuncture session was not really needed, because she was actually feeling quite a lot of pain. And then, she got better and better. And I wanted to vaccinate her and sterilize her to make her ready for adoption. But the whole process just takes quite some time. So she was staying with me probably 6 weeks. And then I put up a post, and I was just praying that no one would want her. I was like, this is not a good sign. She should just stay. And then I decided to keep her.
Beautiful.
And how did this lead to your business of eco-friendly dog?
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
I really want to know the name Kali. Does it have a specific meaning? Or?
It's a goddess, no? Kali?
It is a goddess, but the vet, they always right away asked for a name. I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It was like, well, I was just looking up some Indonesian words, and Kali actually means river in Indonesian, yeah. So
I got chills right now.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
I was like, this is a nice word.
I honestly didn't know that, by the way.
I was like,
awesome,
should I? It's a really nice story. So Sungai means river as well, and Kali is more the smaller river. But also means goddess.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Cool dog.
Such a cool dog. I mean, yeah, you should meet her. She's, and I'm not only saying that because she's my dog, but she is just the sweetest soul. She loves human people around her. She loves touch. She's just a sweet little dog.
And you love her so much.
I love her so much.
Look
So,
at
and almost tearing up.
a little.
I'm not yet. No, yeah, the story always makes me emotional because this story is also such a typical Bali story, unfortunately, for all the street dogs. This is a symbol for all the street dogs and all the suffering that's happening there. And I was already involved with street dogs, and I was aware what was happening, how they grow up, how much of a threat they have from the environment, and how much they suffer. And Kali dogwear. So I was looking for a nice collar for Kali, and I just couldn't find any nice collar for her. It was like all this like plastic shit, super cheap, and it's like, I don't know, like first of all, there's a huge plastic problem, plastic pollution happening in Indonesia. During rainy season, the beaches are just covered in plastic. I surf, so you basically swim through the plastic. It's insane. So since I got to Bali, I was just way more aware of how I myself am using plastic. I reduced the usage of plastic. I'm not using single-use plastic anymore, or I try to reduce it and be very aware of the usage. So then I also, when I was looking for the collar, I just didn't want any more plastic in my life. I was like, is there not anything else? It's like, I'm just going to find ways to do my own little collar. So just for my own creativity process, I wanted to create a eco-friendly collar for Kali with a metal buckle, and then I found this recycled yarn from Java, from a garment factory. It's basically leftover fabric that they use, that they sell for yarn, and then just watched the YouTube tutorial and started knitting my own little collar for Kali. And then everyone was like, this is actually really cool. I was like, this is actually really cool. And then I was like, well, but I don't want to do that. And there are people in this world who can do that so much better. So I was looking for someone who can do basically the macrame knitting technique. Knotting technique.
Okay.
Yeah. And I found this lady, and then I experienced with like a few different materials like coconut yarn and macrame yarn, and then the t-shirt yarn. And then at some point I just had my first collar. I was like, oh, I could actually sell these and then donate a part of that for street dogs. So it's eco-friendly. And I'm also trying to like find a sustainable solution for helping street dogs in Bali. So it was like all of this whole story basically came together.
Everything connected at that moment.
Yeah, it was just like a whole circle that closed. I was like, oh, wow.
So yeah, that's awesome. You can help the problem you were already raising awareness for and helping with. Yeah. By doing what you love and being creative. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
And making really some money on the side.
Exactly.
There's nothing bad about it.
Yeah. So at the start, I was not even like, I was not thinking about making money, because it was like, I just wanted to, I have a friend, she is rescuing dogs. She's just amazing. And she was constantly asking for monies and donations, because I mean, they all have to be treated. They all have to go to the vet. It is just so much money that need to be raised. And I was like, you can't I really appreciate what she's doing, but imagine the money doesn't come in. Like, what do you do then? And with Kali Dogwear, I really wanted to give her ongoing funds. So then I started to donate 20% of the profits to her cause.
Wow.
Nice.
That's a lot.
Actually.
Wow.
I was thinking about this question. Should I ask her now? Because if she's not donating anything, what
are you actually doing? No, and I had to lower the donations because I'm not from a financial background. I have no idea about money, to be honest. Yeah. And I realized that 20% is just not
sustainable for you.
No, it is not sustainable for me.
It's normally the real profit, no?
Yeah. So I had to lower it to 5% to actually be a bit more realistic about the whole situation.
Still great.
It's still great. I'm still donating the money.
And once you scale it, it's just going to be more money.
Exactly.
What's the Instagram again? I forgot.
Kali.dogwear.
Kali.dogwear.
Yeah, Kali with a K.
Sounds great.
So
it's really good.
When you made the first collar, were there people coming up? Did you think immediately, I want to sell this? Or were people coming up to you oh, that's really cool? How did it go?
Yeah, it was more like that.
Was it from you? You wanted to bring it to the world, or the world was telling you like, this is some cool stuff?
Sounds like that. No?
Yeah, so I showed them to a few people and they were like, oh, I want this for my dog. So I was just thinking about, I will just create a few collars for my friends' dogs.
Yeah.
But then kind of got bigger and bigger and everyone was like, I want this, this is so cool, this is so unique. And I was like, wait.
And how were the next steps? So the first one, you had like 3 collars, for example, for your friends. And then how did you get out? How did the word spread? Was it just word of mouth? They told other people? How did it go? When were you like, okay, I'm going to actually commit to building a brand out of this?
It was shortly after everyone gave me such a nice feedback. I was like, if I make this really a brand, then I can donate the money all the time. And I was not thinking about making it like big, but I just wanted to see, and I love to create and I love to play around. So I created a logo. The logo is actually the face of my dog.
She's not in love with the dog.
Not at all. Love you. So, and then people were like, this is such a cool logo. And like, do you have Instagram? So I created Instagram. I had a photo shooting. And then I wanted to find a dog bed for Kali. Same thing. The dog beds that they have there, they are like, first of all, they don't look great. And I just love seeing things that actually work with the interior. And I just didn't want to have a pink dog bed with, I don't know, small dogs on it. So it's like, I just create my own dog bed. And then usually you fill it with like this small plastic styrofoam balls. And once the dog rip it apart, they're just everywhere. It's a fucking mess. It was like, what can I use to actually fill those dog beds? And I came across coconut fiber. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I did my first sample on that.
And cheap, then, no?
Yeah, super cheap.
Your supplies are
natural.
Super cheap. Yarn,
yeah,
coconut fiber. It's great.
Yeah, not all of the materials are cheap, unfortunately, but yeah, these ones are. And then with the dog beds, it really took off because that was, people just wanted to have beautiful dog beds. And then I was like, okay, let's make this bigger.
And how did you make it bigger? Like, you had the Instagram then, you were starting posting. Was it growing organically, you would say, like hashtag use, or did you go to shops to promote? How did you get it from a couple of people who like it to, I'm going to build a brand out of this, selling some stuff? And how did you take it to the next step?
So first of all, I had to start a company in Bali, in Indonesia, to actually make it legal. And I didn't really realize we were already starting a company for a different reason. And then I talked to the agency that helped us, and I was like, can I actually sell my dog products in Bali now? And they were like, yeah, sure. You just add the license and you can. I was like, oh my God, I can actually now have a shop and like really make a business. And then, while Instagram was really my biggest focus, because that works super well for Indonesia. And then it was also a lot of word by mouth, and I set up social campaigns. And at the start, I had one ad running, and I put maybe like €2 a day on it. But at some point, everyone was like, oh yeah, I saw your ad. Oh, I know Kali Dogwear. Oh, you're from Kali Dogwear. And I was like, okay.
€2 pardon me. That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
So yeah, I was quite surprised. And then simultaneously, people reach out to me, and I also tried to find partner shops. So it was like growing online and offline, and I also attended markets. So yeah.
Do you remember how many followers you had when you started the ads? Like, did you have a online presence already, or did you basically do it with 50 followers or 100 followers? Like, how big were you when you started these small advertising campaigns?
Super small, like maybe 200 followers. Exactly. All my friends.
And do you think because you had 200 followers and still people were contacting you like, hey, I know you, you're the person from the Kali Dogwear, or hey, I know your brand. Do you think, based on your experience, it gave you a lot of credibility towards these people, even though your Instagram was still quite small?
I think everyone just understood what I was doing and was just valuing that, because there is no such thing in Bali, not even in Indonesia. I don't know of any eco-friendly dog brand in Indonesia. So it was completely new. And because everyone was aware of the plastic pollution and like Bali becoming more aware of being sustainable and eco-friendly in general, it just took off with the whole, with the whole energy of that, I think. And coming back to your question, I don't really know why they still trusted me, even though I didn't have many followers. I think maybe I was just telling the right stories. And also I basically talked to everyone about it. I just kept on talking about it, and then people kept on talking about it because they believed in it. So it was really just having people who believed in me and the brand behind me who just spread the word.
This actually is in complete agreement of a theory I've had lately. I don't know if you guys agree that businesses with the right ideology, we are at the correct time right now for these businesses to grow. When you have the correct ideology, like proposing an eco-friendly dogwear brand or doing whatever that actually helps, that's not just made to make money. People are very receptive right now towards these ideas, and they've been getting more receptive towards it with yoga, meditation, eco-friendly food, blah, 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 blah. And I think that's the main reason she had credibility with her friends, with the original 200 followers. And yeah, when you see something that kind of helps out the world, we all are more receptive towards that, no?
Yeah, it's like supply and demand, I guess. Like people really want to now more open to helping the world or doing something nice and wanting sustainable products or eco-friendly products. So if you see something probably with less social authority, as in how many followers do you have, or less social presence, you can probably, because it connects so well to what people want, people like, damn, that's some cool shit, and we want to buy it, and we want to follow you, and yeah, I mean, it's amazing.
Yeah, I think that's what really happened, as you said, that people just... Also, I was always very transparent about everything. I always told the whole story.
That's the German way.
That's the German way, not always.
No, okay.
But like at some point I had to lower the donation percentage because I was like, this is not sustainable for me. So I tried to even like break down the cost of my product of like, this is the production, this is what I'm donating, this is what I'm earning. And I think that also really helped to gain the trust even more, that everyone was like, she's not bullshitting us. And I mean, my first intention was also not to make money and like to become rich with that. So maybe even just the subtle message I was sending of, hey, I really want to change something. And I mean, it's great if at some point right now I'm not earning money with that, but it would be great if at some point I would earn something with that. But it's really the subtle message probably also of, let's make a change instead of just taking. Just wanted to give probably. And maybe that's even why it's taking off.
I like it. From what I've seen, you've changed a lot. Corporate job, you start your first business, you move abroad, you start your second business because now you have a point of view where you can actually recognize a lack, a problem in society which your business could fix, like the eco-friendly dogwear. And all these changes come through improvements of yourself, I think, of which breathwork, I'm guessing, is a part. You mentioned breathwork at the beginning. I don't really know what breathwork is, and I think you both do it.
I also really want to know that, but before that, I would like to know, because now you have the design business and you have the Kali dogwear brand, which probably is quite busy. Keeps you busy, I assume.
Busy.
Like, what in your life made you decide, I want to do something else, or I want to add something to this? Because we spoke earlier today, and you said I think the course load was 400 hours to become a breathwork practitioner.
Months.
So that's a big commitment.
Hours. That is a big commitment.
And as you told me, it was 3 months, so 400 hours in 3 months, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
So what made you be like, I'm going to become a breathwork practitioner who has a eco-friendly dogwear brand and is also has a design agency
and a surfer,
who lives in Bali and surfs,
she takes care of Kali.
I'm just exactly.
I mean,
dog mom.
A dog mom.
What happened, Annika?
So first of all, every year I pick something that I would like to learn, and I think breathwork subconsciously chose me. So someone introduced me to Edward Dangerfield, who is a breathwork practitioner from Canada/UK. And he came to Bali, I think maybe 3 years ago. And someone connected me with him because he needed photos. And I just love to take photos. So I chatted with him. And
you're also a photographer?
No, I wouldn't say I'm a photographer. I just love to take photos. But I don't know. There are people who studied photography, and I would love to give them the credit of being a photographer. For me, I just love taking photos. And I also, because it's my passion, I never wanted to earn money with photography. So Edward reached out to me. He's like, hey, I would love to have some photos of what I'm doing. And you got recommended, maybe you want to help me. I was like, sure, what are you actually doing? And he told me about breathwork. And I was like, I have no idea what this is. What do you think about having an exchange? You do a breathwork session with me and I'll take photos of you, because then I can also really understand what you're doing and I can probably capture better what you're actually doing and what you want to embody. So we did this breathwork journey and I had no idea. And he explained to me in a very scientific way what is going to happen. And because I don't really believe in all this woo-woo stuff, he really got me at and there's a lot of that in Bali. He really got me at this scientific approach and was like, okay, I totally get that. This is epic. I'm just going to trust you and let's just do it. So we dove into that journey. And yeah, I don't really know what happened. I felt tons of body sensations. I had some visuals and I felt extremely high afterwards and just really, really good. I was like, what was that?
What kind of visuals?
Just like weird rings coming together. It was really weird. It was super abstract. So not really a story, more like abstract visuals.
Like shapes.
Yeah.
Geometrical shapes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't know anything about it. I was just like, this was pretty epic. And I knew at some point I would want to learn more about it. And for me, it's usually very black and white. I either dive fully into something or not. And I went to a few circles and circles. They do breathwork circles where they're like around 16 people on a mat breathing. And then they have a few breathwork facilitators helping you to go through the journey. And I joined that multiple times. I did a few one-on-one sessions and I just really enjoyed it. But I was not in the position and mind space of really fully diving into that just yet. But I told Edward one day, if we're going to do a course, I'll be in and I want to learn more. And then he reached out to me and he was like, well, I'm doing this course, the Breathwork practitioner training in March for 3 months. Are you in? It's like, oof. My anxiety came up. I was like, 3 months? I don't know. Like, I'm already really busy.
Commitment, no?
Yeah. And well, we had a few talks about it. And he also just really gave me the feeling of this is maybe a path for you. So I just he didn't say that, but I could just feel I had to do it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I have half a year now to prepare for that time and set my business up in a way that I can miss out a few days per week. And then, I dove in.
And what is breathwork?
Here we go.
Well, there are very different types of breathwork. What I've practiced and learned is conscious connected breathing. They call it FBR, facilitated breathing repatterning. And breathwork is super, there's a wide variety and Josh is doing some breathwork, but is very different from what we are doing. We are basically trying to change our breath to enter a subconscious state in your mind. And with doing that, we allow the nervous system to go through patterns and basically repattern those unhealthy patterns that we establish over years and years and years of living, and not basically releasing trauma or emotions. And with breathwork, we are able to, get our body in the state where we allow it to heal.
And the unhealthy patterns, you mean breathing patterns, or you mean like thinking patterns of living? Like what kind of? Yeah,
basically both. But so they have this nice quote: the way we live is the way we breathe, and the way we breathe is the way we live. So everything that is stored in your body, what you experienced, traumas that you've experienced, it will change the way you breathe. Because there are parts in your body that your breath doesn't want to move into. just to keep yourself safe. And these are the breathing patterns that I'm talking about that you can change to a way that's more healthy for you. And if you think about, we're breathing 22,000 to I think 26,000 times a day. And if you breathe the way you're breathing and it's not healthy, then you're just not living a healthy, full life.
I think it goes both ways, as in the breath is, if you store a lot of tension and like the fight or flight mechanism is activated. So if you're very stressed, for example, I think what happens biology wise is your body is way too much in a fight or flight response, which means there's certain biological changes, which if you do not release them in time, like after a week or something, it becomes long-term stress. I think you can, by the breath work, you basically physically alter your breathing patterns and thereby also lowering the psychological stress felt. I think the stress that people feel, or depression, or all kinds of things, it gets stored in the body way more than we, from a normal scientific point of view, or what's now the paradigm that we acknowledge. So for me, I really, with the breath work, I do a different type, and let's get into yours in a moment. But for me, the breath work, for me, it's the best thing I do for myself. I've done meditation and I work out and all these kind of things. But the beauty with breath work is that the same as with psychedelics, if you take a couple of grams of magic mushrooms, you're gonna explore your soul, basically. Like, it's gonna happen if you want or not. If you meditate, it's difficult for a lot of people. Definitely people, I would say, even like people who are very high achievers, who always have their minds on. You can sit there, but you can sit there for a year, for 20 minutes, and still after a year, you can struggle. You might not get anywhere, and you might not even relax. You might even stress yourself more out. Like, it's difficult. Meditation is difficult. Then you go to the gym, it can bring yourself more in the body, but also you're straining your muscles. Like, it's a physical extra stressor. Like, actually going to the gym and working out or doing sports, your body is not recovering. It needs to recover after. So that brings even more stress. Like, your body doesn't distinguish that much between psychological stress or physical stress. It has a lot of good effects, exercise, but it's also a stressor. Then when you have breath work, like breath work, for me, I've been doing it every day for a year now. Not because with Annika, it's 1 hour and 50 minutes, more or less, the session. It's quite a lot.
1 hour and 50 minutes?
Yes.
Each
15,
session?
1 hour 15.
Got it.
75 minutes.
And for me, it's about 20 minutes. I do the Wim Hof style breathing, more or less. Every time after I do the breath work, I'm just chill. I'm relaxed. I'm good to start the day, and I'm energized. It physically brings you, like, all the chatter that you have in your mind. It just erases it. You get into your body. Physically, you get put into your body. You relax. I relax my muscles. I relax my mind. You can, just by the mechanism that you're doing, the breath work in and out, like basically the formula, it will always, without an exception, put you in a state of mind that you can have an amazing day. And that's why I do it every morning. So with Annika, I would like you to explain a bit what we did today, because I did a breathwork session with Annika today, and how it's different and your experience with this, basically.
Mm-hmm. First, let me see if I understand correctly. So let's say I have a stressful day. Mm-hmm. This trauma, according to the scientific explanation, maybe lodges itself in my neck, and breath is not reaching my neck normally anymore. Am I right so far? And then through the breath work, I'll have my breath reach this and unclog the trauma?
So trauma is used quite often. We use trauma in the way of something happened that your nervous system can't really digest. So it's too much for your nervous system. And so it's really difficult to also say what's trauma and what is not a trauma, because different people will experience different situations, and sometimes it causes a trauma and sometimes it doesn't. So it's really about your nervous system and how much you are resistant or not. So basically, it is not only about a day, but like if you, for example, let's talk about you have a scooter accident here in Barcelona, and this accident, if you don't release everything that comes with that, like the stress level or adrenaline or anxiety or panic right away, that is stored in your body. And then maybe your nervous system, the next time something happens to you, doesn't know a safe way out. So it's always good to address those things right away once you experience them. I mean, if we also look at, we have an argument, and I'm not speaking my truth, I store something inside because I'm not saying what I want to say. All of these things that are not getting released from us are within us, and that can change the breath. But I personally don't know how it changes it, and I think not even neuroscientists know it fully yet because it's just not been researched. The team I was working with in Bali, they are doing research on that now, how breath really affects our life. To basically, have the full scientific approach, because there are already studies around that, and yes, there are scientific there is scientific information about it, but it's not fully discovered yet. So everything that I'm saying now is based on what I've been taught and what we worked with a neuroscientist within our team, what has been explored so far. But it's so wide and so deep that no one really knows.
So it's based on experience by these guys. They've experienced a release of old trauma or whatever, and that's why they think breath work is great and it works. As well,
yes, as well. So you can, I mean, if we look at, for example, releasing anger, because I can speak from my own experience. There was one day where I just could feel how angry I was. It was like built up over 3 days, and I could work through that with like meditation, a beach walk, or maybe even a boxing session. But I really felt like I had to release the anger. So I went on a breathwork journey, and you usually set an intention for the breathwork journey. And my intention was to invite anger, to really like bring it up and let it go. So within the session, I could just feel this like energy moving through my body, and I wanted to make lots of sound, and the facilitators facilitated me in a way that I was allowed to let the anger come up, and it was fully accepted and really welcome to express it. And I was just screaming and yelling, and at some point crying, and then I was done. And after the journey, I felt so light. I mean, it's just my own experience and how I felt, but I could really see how the anger was gone. And I know it didn't enter my body. It didn't stay there.
Did it ever come back, the same anger afterwards? Or what were you
not
really
that one.
done? Wow.
Yeah, okay. No, not because it was linked to an event that happened, and that was just gone. I'm just neutral about it now. I can look at it in a very neutral way, and I can analyze the situation, but I'm not angry about it anymore.
That's amazing.
And if you look at it and you know that this anger hasn't been stored in your body, I mean, that's just epic.
I think I had a similar take on this, but with it's very similar. It parallels with the research on psychedelics that's being done now with post-traumatic stress. There's research with MDMA and post-traumatic stress disorder, and basically they give people MDMA and then go through a session with a psychologist, and they recall the event, and basically they can go through it, but then the feelings that come up, they can feel the feelings without basically shutting down. Basically the whole emotion gets lived through, and the cycle that you go through, instead of storing, and because it's so powerful, the emotion, that you control it and you keep it inside. No, now you have the possibility, because of the MDMA, it dampens that response, so you can live it. You can finally close that loop of that trauma, and then it's out of the system. And the initial results with the MDMA research that have been researching this are very good. Like a lot of people who are therapy resistant with PTSS, which means basically have tried, I think, 7 or more different therapies and nothing. Like I think, I don't know how much, I don't have the numbers, but I think more than 50% recovered.
Wow.
So, and when I hear the story, I feel like it's the same. I also have my personal experience with a different catharsis meditation, but when you move through the emotion and you really process it and let it go, it's gone. Finally, it's gone. once you actually live it. My big friend Osho was there. He also
Oh my God, Osho, he didn't even say hi
never
today.
Exactly. Hey,
Osho.
what's up?
He's always attentive, always looking.
Exactly. No, I think he has he says basically if you want to let go of your past trauma, what you have to do every night or every evening, you sit in a meditation pose and you relive the memory. So you basically go back to your childhood and you put yourself in that position when something bad happened. And that at that time you couldn't respond with the anger, you couldn't yell or whatever, but then fully live that emotion fully and let it all go. And then once you do that step by step and you know how to do that, you can actually let go of past trauma.
I tried that, and to me the trauma kept coming back afterwards, the anger or whatever, we're talking the sadness, blah, whatever. And that's why I asked this question about breath work, if you were really done with it afterwards, if it didn't come back anymore. And if it works, then it's great.
That was for me in my situation. There are for sure traumas or emotions that will take much, much, much longer. And you can never really say this trauma will take 2 weeks or this will take 5 weeks.
Who knows, right?
Who knows? Only your nervous system knows, because every nervous system is so different. Your window of tolerance is different. Even if you're ready to enter this trauma and maybe even relive it, it just takes a while. And it is also based on how deep is it stored, what kind of trauma is it. So yeah, you can never really know, and that's also the beauty of it, to really fully trust that your body will find the answer if you do the work. And I think therapy is great, but that is mind-based, and breathwork is not mind-based. So
it's
you
more
can't.
Feeling-based.
It's your subconscious mind. It's basically your body will find the answer within you. So because your brain is really clever. There's trauma inside you, and the brain is like, nah, don't go there. You shouldn't.
It's trying to protect you. Right?
Yeah, let's just forget about it.
Let's go get some ice cream.
Exactly. Exactly. Eat some chocolate.
You deserve some chocolate.
Good sir.
Go to the hairdresser. We'll make it feel nice.
Exactly.
Go shopping.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, there's a reason for that, but that is just not healthy because that's what we just said. It just stores it in your body, and over the long, it's a band-aid, and putting on a band-aid doesn't really help. You have to go to the root cause and release it.
Do you? That's a good question, because we spoke about this earlier in a different podcast. We asked the question and we still don't have the answer, I guess. So I would like to hear your opinion as well on this, your take. Do we have to go back to the root cause, or can we basically, maybe your life is bad, you have bad habits or bad thinking patterns, can you just shift the habits, can you shift the thinking patterns, and then can you live a happy and fulfilling life? Can that work, or do you think you always
need to go back to the original trauma and release that trauma?
Good
We're
question.
answering each other's sentences now. That's a next level. Wow, beautiful.
Wow, you're so
we
alive,
can get
guys.
some ice cream later.
Not before you heal your trauma.
Okay.
I mean, I'm not a specialist. I just did this 400 hours of training, and I think I will never know everything. But what I've learned so far, I would say it is the more healthy way to actually not try to live with it and try to change your own behavior with your emotions and your trauma, but really go to the root. I would say, yeah, you should, if you can, you should go there.
Okay. I think each person has to find their own way eventually, right? And not in many ways lead to Rome, because I kept on thinking about this afterwards, and you're probably right, and we are probably right too, that you can have a healthy life without going to the root trauma. Each body is different, each person is different.
Yeah, exactly.
It's probably one of the for me probably the scariest thing that you can do. I mean, you talked about bravery. You said that's brave if you leave your country and your job, and it is extremely brave. I agree, but I mean, to really go inside deeply or take a high dose of mushrooms or do the breath work for I don't know how many hours and just go there day after day, that sounds intense and heavy, and that's extremely brave in my opinion.
It is really intense, and you have to be ready for it, and it brings up so much stuff, and you also have to have the environment and support where you can fully integrate what just has been stirred up. And I must say, knock on wood, luckily I haven't experienced any like really deep trauma in my life. But I have seen people that have gone through breathwork, experiencing trauma, experiencing the state of depression they have had in their life. And yeah, that must be really, really, really scary to go to those states when you actually think you've left that behind and entering that again and not knowing if you will make it out. I can only imagine. I mean, I haven't entered that, and I'm really lucky that I don't have to. But looking at that perspective, you have to be really willing to go to your deepest places of your body, your soul, and be ready to receive whatever comes up.
How long ago did you start with the breath work?
It was in March. So I just finished.
This March. Oh, wow.
So basically last Saturday, I had my final closing dinner. Thank you. Yeah. I talked to Edward about it. It was like, I'm 33 and I just found another passion. How cool is that? I just love seeing people breathing.
I'm betting you're going to find more passions even at 63. That's,
sure,
probably.
It's never ending. Can you take me through what a breathwork class or session looks like, just for me who have never seen it or done it?
Sure. So basically, I would usually set up a 2-hour container where I welcome in the client and talk the client through the process of the breath journey. And how that looks like is that I will explain how we breathe, and I can explain to you right now. So basically, when you breathe in, you pause, you breathe out, you pause. And with connected breathing, we take away the pauses and we just loop and connect the breath for 1 hour 15.
It's a long time, I can tell.
It's a long time.
It is a long time.
Just
breathing and in and out through the mouth.
What's happening inside, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, in the end, there can, like, so many things can come up. I'm sometimes in a state where my brain is just empty, and it's really nice because I also have one of those busy minds, and meditation is really difficult for me. So having found breathwork, it just makes it so much easier to just be with whatever comes up, and also being in an environment where every emotion is just welcome, crying, laughing, being angry. But back to how we breathe. We loop the breath for 1 hour 15, in and out through the mouth. And the whole body is just relaxed. You lay down. And my job is basically witnessing the breath and making sure it's connected. So that is the most important thing, that you keep connecting your breath. And then I can see how the breath moves through your body. We have different diaphragms, and we basically want the breath to move from pelvis up the rib cage to the chest, and then let it go with a relaxed exhale. So relaxed exhale is just
okay. And
some people force the exhale. So there
are you a forcer?
I am a forced exhaler.
There are different types of breath work, and some types ask for the forced exhale. And it's just a different approach. And we want the exhale to just fully relax, be fully relaxed. And the journey, basically, we're playing music the whole time. And with that music, we guide the client through some sort of bell curve.
Sort of what, sorry?
Bell curve, like a curve of like starting out very slow, and then slowly increasing the vibrancy of your inhale, like make it more fully, more deep, and then going to some sort of peak. The music will be aligned. It will be like some high bass, fast music. And then after the peak, we go into integration and relaxation. So you slow down on the breath, and in relaxation, you only breathe into the belly, soften the breath. It will be way slower. And because you also just got so much oxygen into your body, it could be that you suspend your breath for a while. And that's totally fine too. And in that state, the integration is happening. And you can see, like, what I witness as a practitioner, you can see like twitches and like small body movements, and you just know the nervous system is just doing its job and like reliving things, and just like it's epic. It's really wild. And then after that, after the journey, there's always some time for sharing if the client feels like sharing. And usually the first time breathers, they're like, what the fuck was just that? Like, what did I experience? And there are so many different experiences. It's always really interesting to hear afterwards what the person has just gone through.
And for the one who ain't close to a breathwork practitioner, would you suggest for them to try it for the first time by themselves at their home with a video or something? Or would you suggest go find yourself somebody who knows what they're doing and do it with that person?
I would say so, because the beauty of the facilitated breathing repatterning is that you have someone with you, breath to breath, making sure you breathe in a way that is healthy for you. And also, the body is showing us some small signals and basically telling you, hey, I don't want to go there, or I want to release the emotions. And if someone is sitting next to you, basically encouraging you to feel your emotions and to allowing them, you can enter those states way more easily. And if you breathe on your own, you will just breathe in your old pattern, which is okay, because I mean, you breathe. That's all you need to do.
At least you won't die.
Yeah, exactly. But the way we are doing the breath work, you actually want to make a shift for the nervous system.
Yeah. And is it easy to learn? Can a person learn in, let's say, 4, 5, 10 sessions and then continue the journey on them by themselves, or should they always remain with the practitioner?
They can. I can do a journey on my own. It takes practice, and I won't be able to tell you how long it takes for you to be able to, because you basically have to enter the state of you're connecting your breath the whole time and you're breathing in the rhythm we want the breath to be. So you're like going through all your diaphragms, and then once you learn a lot about it, you also know what like movements in your body can do, bringing through sounds, even you can do some like arm compressions yourself. It is nice to have someone to guide you. If that is not something that is available for you the whole time, then of course over a longer period of time you can basically get the experience that you need to do it on your own.
I think it's also about purpose, as in why do you want to do breath work? Because in my experience, the Wim Hof thing, there's quite a lot of content on YouTube that basically explains it. There's a website with an app that you can download for free. And for me, it's just a part of my routine, which puts me in the right state of mind and relaxes me. It's like a medicine, basically. You take, not a medicine, more like a supplement. I would say the Wim Hof thing is more like a supplement that gets you to be ready for the day. That's how I use it. How I see, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but how I see the type of breath work that Annika does, it's more like, you're going in for a surgery to really fix something.
It's like a medicine.
It's an actual medicine, exactly.
We call it medicine.
It's a medicine.
You do? Oh, wow.
So I would recommend everyone to do breath work by themselves, but I also agree very much with Annika. I think if you really go there to heal trauma, or if you're depressed, or for whatever reason, you just want to let go of stuff like I was today, I want to feel more light, then I highly recommend finding someone as well. Yeah.
And how much would a breathwork practitioner charge normally, so people get an idea between, I don't know, for an hour 15 segment or whatever?
Usually you charge per hour, and it really depends on also the level you're at. Starting from probably €60 an hour to
whatever, 200,
300, yeah.
And depends on where in the world you are, because some economies of Spain probably will be cheaper than New York, I guess.
Well, yeah, just to give people a reference on how much they should expect. What's your breathwork type called? The medicine one?
The facilitated breathing repatterning, FBR.
Facilitated breathing repatterning. I'm convinced by both of you. I'm going to try both. Probably. I like it.
And I really like what you said, Josh, about the different approaches of like, there's a daily practice that can put you in the right state, and then there's the long-term practice. And our teachers actually said something really beautiful, because I said, how do I like manage expectations with a client, because someone might come in and be like, hey, fix my trauma, I have 2 weeks. And you're like, okay, let's like talk about expectations. Let's talk about expectations. And what they said is, well, it's basically like yoga. It's an ongoing practice that you can do or should do probably for the rest of your life. Because if you do yoga, you're more flexible. And if you do breath work, you will just have a more healthy way of living. And I can see that in myself. What those 3 months have done to me, I mean, yeah, I didn't even expect that at all.
The comparison that comes to mind is switching from fast, shitty food towards a healthy diet. Is it like something similar? Yes, you have to keep eating healthy.
Yeah, if you go back to your shitty fast food, of course, the small amount of good food that you ate is overwritten.
And what has changed for you in the past 3 months? Because you started 3 months ago with a couple of breathwork sessions in, I guess, and then you went full force 400 hours.
400 hours.
400 hours.
Yeah, and
what happened?
we also, especially at the start, we breathed a lot, and then I kept on breathing at least once a week. But at the start, it was like sometimes twice a week for then 1 hour 15. So what has changed for me? I think self-awareness. I'm just way more aware of what my body needs and how I feel. I said no to so many things in those 3 months. I think I've never said more no in my entire life. And it really felt good to actually stick to my boundaries, what I'm capable of. And I know I can do a lot, but I also don't have to. And just the realization of this is not what my body needs right now. I want to rest and I don't want to be social and I don't want to go out for dinner. And that's totally fine for me. That was one big realization.
Realization, because I'm now suddenly connecting the dots. Like I've went through the same thing. Basically, I've become way more intuitive with my body in the last year, and when I take a break, and that's what you're saying as well. Yeah. But was it like a conscious shift? Like it just happened, right? By doing the. Did you become more conscious about it, or it was just an automatic? Because for me, I didn't know. Maybe it's related, maybe not. But would you say it's automatic, or did you just become more aware of these patterns and you're like, I don't want to, like, how did it go?
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I think we won't really know what really made the shift. Also, at the start of the training, we did journaling and checked in with ourselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And we were rating every morning what was going on. So even just that tiny practice of checking in with ourselves, taking 2 minutes of just really feeling how I feel, maybe that even did the shift.
But is it a conscious shift or like a feeling wise shift? So basically what I'm trying to get at is you used to, I don't know what you have a bad behavior, you eat Snickers. All right, now you move towards the thing and you're like, you just automatically don't move there anymore because now you feel on a deep level you just don't do it. Or is it you bring awareness? So basically you see the Snickers and like you have a thought like, no, I'm not gonna do that. Like which is it?
I mean, if I look at my drinking behavior, I love a good glass of wine, and for the last 3 weeks I just didn't feel like wine, and that was because I love wine. I was like, glass of wine would be nice, but I actually don't feel like it. So it was even like the contrary discussion.
In the subconscious.
I don't know. I don't know what it actually is.
Because I have the same, but I have never related it to breathwork. But I feel exactly like I'm automatic. My automatic decision makings. So basically, your unconscious patterns. I have shifted for me. Like I've just.
So you're not fighting.
I'm not fighing anything. No, it's just more natural. And now I'm hearing this. I'm hearing this from Annika, who does a very intense 3-month breathwork thing, and she's basically explaining what I've been going through, but I haven't connected the dots. But it's very interesting.
It makes sense because normally our destructive patterns are to cover up something, right? Some inadequacy, some problem, some trauma, and if this trauma is released.
I don't need the wine to feel good.
But I have no trauma released. I'm still full of trauma. I'm still.
Let's bring it
You're
up.
You're doing great.
So I mean, it's great to hear that you have experienced the same things and only just now realized that this could potentially be because of the breathwork. And yeah, I mean, because we talk about it a lot, I'm probably also more aware of what can change in my body. But yeah, the wine, at some point I was like, I haven't really drank any wine lately. Like, what's happening? And then I was feeling into it. I was like, I'm good. I don't need it. I went to a party and I drank water.
Did you use words like feeling into it 3 months ago or not?
Probably not.
Are you happy with the change?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's nice.
Yeah. Being in the environment of, sharing emotions, sharing feelings, feeling into it, and taking my time to actually like sit down and feel like, how do I feel right now? Like, how do I feel sitting here with you guys? Am I nervous? Am I excited? Do I love it? Am I confident? Probably not confident, but
would you
You're
say
not? You seem confident.
You seem very confident. Exactly.
maybe I am.
I
haven't felt into it.
But would you say, like, has it aligned you more then? Is that how you could put it? You know? Like, so you're basically, a human being has a lot of different needs and wants, and you go from basically you want to be skinny, but also you want to eat the chocolate bar every day, and you want this, and it pulls you out of alignment. I think normal life, definitely. I mean, if you don't bring awareness, it's easy to become disequilibrated or misaligned, or
misaligned.
Would
That's
you?
a good word.
That's a better word. We can actually pronounce it, so that's important.
That's why.
So would you say like it's aligned you in that sense, that you're basically your desires or what your body wants and your brain wants and your heart wants? Is it more? Are you more a unified being?
Well, I love this question.
That's a very good question. I haven't thought about it, but I think yes, because you know how I personally have this image of myself, who I want to be, and what I want to embody, and I think the book Atomic Habits talks about it as well, that you should not think about, what was it again? Like the approach of why you want to lose weight. Just the state of how you think about it is can make a big difference in how you approach a goal. So I think because I really see the vision of myself like a healthy, grounded, healthy mentally and physically person is now fully embodied, and that's what you probably mean with the alignment, that maybe it fully rooted within myself now, so my body is just really telling me, say no to the chocolate, say no to the wine. Maybe it's that, I don't know.
Sounds good. No?
Yeah.
Sounds good. I'm not complaining about it at all.
What else? So you basically you've become more in alignment. You're automatically moving in a path that's more congruent with your goals and your dreams and your health, I would assume.
Yeah.
Any other changes you went through in the past 3 months?
Self-compassion, confidence. And confidence, I could see a big shift in how I surf. Because I'm not a confident surfer.
You're not?
I'm not, absolutely not.
We need a video of Kali and a video of you surfing.
Yes.
Oh, I will show you later.
We will show it in the podcast.
Oh, love it. Kali. So if I related to my surfing, how I surfed it is a very manly sport. There's lots of testosterone going on in the water, especially where I surf, my home break. That's the surfer term.
That's a word I just learned a couple of hours ago. Yes, home break.
I just learned it.
You knew it?
No, I just learned it.
I was impressed.
No.
It's so it's like the wave at your place that you always surf. So my home break is very testosterone-y. And I love going there because the wave for me is perfect. It's the right amount of putting me out of my comfort zone, but then also I can still surf it. But I've surfed it for so long, and it is just a very competitive sport. So people place themselves at the peak, they get the wave, they can surf the wave, and if you're not confident enough to sit at the peak, go for the wave that you want to go for, and believe in yourself that you can surf this wave, you just won't get a wave. And I didn't even enjoy going surfing on my own. I always had to have someone with me. I was like, do you want to go? And I was waiting for people. I was really dependent. And since, I'm not lying, since I'm doing breathwork, I am going alone to this surf break, and it's a big win for me, being independent all of a sudden. And then even a friend of mine, he said, what happened to you? Like, seeing you surfing now, you're so much more confident, and I can see how much more I enjoy it. And I'm, just having the compassion of, I only surf for 3 years or 3.5. I don't have to be as good as everyone else. I'm good as like what I am now, the state, the level I'm at now. And I also trust myself. If there's a wave coming, I can trust myself. I will take it. And even if I fall and if I don't take it, it doesn't matter, because who cares?
You don't need the validation of the other surfers anymore.
No, exactly. And I don't have to prove myself. And I proved myself there in this environment. And I basically had to like get the rank and like level up so I would be accepted. And maybe it's only my own like what I feel, what I experience, and maybe it's not even true, but that's what I felt at this home break, what I've gone through.
I think if you believe it, it's true.
Yeah, probably.
And your friends are telling you so too. So
makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
If you're comfortable with who you are and you look inwardly and you don't look outwardly, then I mean these changes.
Yeah.
They happen.
Yeah. And also like, and plus the compassion of, this is where I'm at and it's fine. And I don't have to always be perfect at everything. And I mean, that's what I'm struggling with, right? The famous word perfectionism.
Oh, I hate perfectionism.
I think like
struggle.
That's the thing. Like we also spoke about this, but because it's such an embodied experience, the breathwork thing or the psychedelic thing, like people can tell you a million times, like you don't have to be perfect. You're good as you are. But who actually hears those words and takes them deeply? But if you go through the breathwork, you're in such a receptive state and you do the work yourself. You're physically changing something. I also don't know what it is. But then suddenly you feel like, hey, I'm all right. You have compassion for yourself. And I think it's so difficult to make that change by communicating, by going to a psychologist and having talk therapy or talking with a friend or journaling for yourself or all these kind of things, because it just connects with the upper layer of your, like it says cerebral, is that the right word?
Cognitive, with the thinking brain.
On a cognitive level, yeah. And it doesn't work with everything. And I don't know like how it goes, because you said something about integration. What's integration then? Because I would assume if you do it that much, you integrate directly. Is there any integration in the days between your sessions? Like how do you work with your process and how do you connect it into your full being and make it part of yourself?
So some journeys are really heavy and stirs up a lot of stuff, and then you just need a longer time afterwards. And again, you just feel into your body if you fully completed all of that and if you are ready to go into the next journey. And sometimes it takes like 1 or 2 weeks that you're like ready to go again. It's same with like very heavy, I don't know, body work. Someone is like pressing knots on your body and you will feel sore for a few days. And then at some point you're like, okay, I'm good again. Let's like do this again. So it just really depends. Some sessions are super light and just fun. And I'm like, sometimes I see myself dancing and at festivals and just experience those things as well. And I feel good afterwards and I can dive in right away the next day. So yeah, it really, really depends on what has been stirred up and what your body is actually capable of going through.
And do you then, do you talk to people after the session? Do you journal? Do you meditate on what happened? Like, is there any extra work you do off the session, or would you say basically also that's quite an automated process? You just by taking the time off and feeling into it, that's the way you actually process what happened? Like, how does it work?
So
for you,
yeah,
it can be different.
It can be different, exactly. Well, for me, sometimes I journal, not really often, but if something really like big happened and I still feel like my thoughts are not like wrapped around it, then I journal. But usually within the breathwork journey, you have time to integrate.
Yeah.
So like the relaxation phase, your body is integrating what you've just experienced, and that should basically close the cycle. And then afterwards, of course, you will be left with like thoughts and maybe like relive this experience that you just had and try to make a sense of it. But for me personally, it doesn't really take a long time. And sometimes I like to share what I've experienced and sometimes I don't, and just honor it, what it was. If big things are coming up and like, for example, I'm working on one specific thing right now, like one trauma that is stored within me. And I know it will take a long time to probably just fully release it. And I had one session on that trauma that I experienced. And I knew that afterwards I just had to take my time and talk about it a little bit with friends and what I've experienced. And yeah, it's just very different. Just, again, it comes back to you really have to feel into your body what's good.
I'm truly amazed that with breath, the thing we all do every day, all day long,
always
every
within
night,
you.
it's always there. We can achieve so much.
Yeah.
And you need nothing else, just the breath.
And you know what?
Amazing.
That was one reasons why I wanted to do that, because I wanted to show people, I wanted to bring it and make it accessible for everyone. Because I have experienced it myself and I can talk so much about it, but I think everyone should just try it once and really see if that's something they want to continue, because I think everyone should. But yeah, you have to experience that. And I just wanted to, I'm traveling with my hands right now, my hands, my voice, and the medicine that I've learned just recently. And now I'm going through Europe and I can, hand it over to people. And it's just...
So if people would like to reach you, in which cities are you going to be? And do you have an Instagram account or something where they could reach you on this, or not yet?
Not yet, really. I have my own private account. But yeah, for me, it was not the purpose of making a business out of it, really. I'm open for business, but I haven't really put much effort into making a business. So if you're really interested, you can reach me on Instagram on Annie Goes to Chicago.
Annie Goes to Chicago, okay.
And he went to Chicago and came back already. It's been a long time that Annie went to Chicago.
A long time ago.
Yeah, funny you would say, like, I was going to ask you, like, do you recommend everyone to do it? Because, yes I also
yes,
feel...
it's an unequivocal yes.
That's
and you do the
exactly
same.
how I feel. And I definitely wouldn't say the same about psychedelics, for example. I think psychedelics can have a very big benefit, but there's very serious side of, like, negative things that can happen as well. You can go very deep at the wrong side of the thing, the spectrum, and basically lose it or become very anxious or maybe develop PTSS because of a very bad trip. Like, you never know, become psychotic. Like, there's many things and many reasons why certain people shouldn't do it. With the breathwork that I do, I would also recommend it to everyone because it's like a light version, like we talked about, it's like a supplement that makes you feel better, ready for the day. I think your breathwork can also become quite intense, right? Like
Oh yeah.
And would you still say everyone try it?
Yeah, so what the practitioner has to do is to make sure that the person who is going through the journey doesn't leave the window of tolerance. So there are different types of breathwork out in this world, and some have a very strong and heavy approach, and we are more on the soft side but long-term approach. So when I was breathing you today, I was making sure you're not leaving the window of tolerance and that you're not stepping out and going into flight and fight or freeze and fawn response, or like completely disassociating from your body.
Freeze and what?
Freeze and fawn. So like the sympathetic and the parasympathetic states that are out of your window of tolerance. And well, if I drive you too far, you would just disassociate and it would not benefit you because you are not really within yourself to experience it.
So because of the guidance there is, and the because people have a good training, like you do 400 hours, you have a lot of sessions, you would say within that environment, it's safe for basically everyone to practice, and it's highly recommended.
Yes.
Then I'll follow your answer and I will also recommend everyone to do it because it's amazing. And I think the Wim Hof it works so well. Yeah.
But you wouldn't recommend it, the FBR, for everybody if they're not under proper guidance?
Well, the FBR means facilitated breathing repetitioning. Okay. Yeah. So it has to be
with a guide.
Yeah. It is just, as I said, it's just like the approach of someone is guiding you into the right pattern of your breathing. That's what just really makes the difference. And then also really witnessing you. If you do it on your own, you will probably not realize where your window of tolerance is until you disassociate. And then you're like, I'm flying up there. Quite nice. And you will probably go there again because this is what your body chose for you. But yeah, we're trying to make sure that you just really stay in this window, follow the bell curve, and then have time to integrate and like come out completely fulfilled.
Is it ever going to happen that this is going to be... I mean, meditation now is more accepted, right? People meditate, and I think probably 30 years ago, if you would be like, I meditate every morning.
You would be a dirty hippie escaped from the woods.
Exactly. People definitely shun you, like, this guy's a bit strange. Now if you meditate, you're like, you're probably an important CEO of Fortune 500 company because these people meditate, With the breath work, is this the new, like, do you think this is going to be the new thing? Do you think, well, how much time will it take? Will we just all do breath work in one way or the other? Should we? The answer is yes, I think, but that we should. But like, how do you see it evolve? Because it's kind of strange. It's different than meditation. Meditation, you just sit in like a strange position. I mean, relatively strange to what people normally sit. And yeah, exactly. That's the position. So you sit in that position and you're not really making any strange sounds. You're being silent, which can also be perceived as being strange, right? Just sitting there and being silent. People are like, what's this guy doing? But the breath work, it's another level of strangeness, and it's probably a barrier to acceptance. Like, how do you see things go in the next 20 to 50 years? Like, how long will it take before people will have accepted, like, this is actually good, we should do this?
I think it will take a few years for sure, also to make it accessible for everyone in the right way, I would say. I think that it will be the new yoga, it will be the new meditation. Because I mean, if you want to do yoga, you go to a studio, so you can do the same for breath. You can go to a breathwork circle where you will be guided, maybe not breath to breath, as it's not a one-on-one session, but at least there are a few facilitators in the room observing and supporting breathers. So I think in the future, maybe let's say 10 years, it will be much more accessible. And I mean, FBR or Breathwork Bali is really trying to support the growth. That they are training us to bring us out into the world to make it more accessible. Plus they're forming some sort of guidance, and they're doing research on it to also, and that's their big goal, to make it to integrate it into a healthcare system.
Yeah.
So because there's no studies on it, there's like no one knows about it. So they're really trying to have the breath lab in Bali now. And Satori, one of the teachers, she is a neuroscientist, and she is doing all the studies around what breath does to us and really trying to understand what really changes within us, and like measuring the brain waves. Or, I mean, we were all wearing the Aura ring during the 3 months and looking at the stats. I mean, the stats don't lie. Like, my sleep has gotten so much better. My resting heart rate is so much better. Yeah,
she showed me the stats earlier. The resting heart rate is like, boom,
really?
Up, lower. That's insane. Like how much in the short time, like 3 months, how much. And that for me, the resting heart rate is the best, because I have an Apple Watch and I track the resting heart rate. It automatically tracks the resting heart rate. For me, that's the best indicator of how relaxed I am. Basically, how good I'm feeling, how stressed I am. And with this, like, I think you dropped like 10 or something. Like,
quite a lot.
20% maybe, like an extreme amount.
And then that's science, right?
Yes.
I mean, you never really know, because you don't know what else I did to drop my heart rate. But I mean, it's basically the moment I started doing breath work, it went down. So it has to be linked.
I think it might be shorter than 10 years for this to be popular, because I'm really interested. And there's a lot of hunger out there for solutions. Mm-hmm. And the solution you're offering is breath.
Yeah.
And breath is for free. If you can actually do 10 sessions or whatever, and then continue by yourself, sounds really, really good. Maybe too good to be true, but it sounds really, really good. And you seem convinced by it. You seem convinced by it. I'm going to give it a try. I hope many people that are listening to us should give it a try too.
Yeah.
And that's how you expand it. Good ideas spread fast.
But also, because it's free, it's probably also people need to be motivated to do it. And if you cannot make money out of it, it's also less easy to spread. Like if you can make a lot of money, it also spreads faster. So I think it's an advantage and a disadvantage. And the second thing is because you need, like meditation, you can easily learn by yourself. But because you need a facilitator and you have like first one-on-one or maybe 2 or 5 people, you need a lot of facilitators. We don't have them now to do that. And probably to have a lot of facilitators, the best thing is to do the scientific research, because if you have the scientific research, you can approach government and insurance companies. And if they have it in the program and then you start training facilitators, then you have to have the infrastructure as well, right?
100% agreed, but we have the Wim Hof method, the one you
That's
do,
it.
and you learned it by yourself.
Exactly.
And that could be like the gateway drug.
That's true. Yeah. Yeah.
To bring you into breath work, and then you get excited, you look up a facilitator, and then you get really excited.
It would be amazing.
Yeah.
So the first step is actually for free and by yourself.
That's true.
That is actually true.
And in Barcelona as well, we have some on apps like Meetup. I think most a lot of people know. Meetup is an app where you have like events in the city where you're big cities always have like some events, can be sports, can be getting together for discussion on spirituality. Actually, we have in Barcelona, but also breath circles and breathwork groups. We have multiple now in Barcelona,
Really?
and they're on the Meetup
Check
app.
it out.
And I don't think that was the case 5 years ago, you know. So it's
No, it's becoming more popular. But then also I would like to raise awareness about, same with trauma healers or coaches. Like I would always do a little bit of a background check where they've come from, because there are also breath workers who have done like a 2-week course.
Oh.
So, you know, it's like, it is not, there are no rules, there are no certificates just yet. And that's why I think it will take a while to actually put out certificates where you can actually say, hey, I'm a physiotherapist, and you know, okay, you've gone through a certain amount of time and training, and that is just not there yet for breath workers. So I think, we should just be aware of the different kinds of breath workers as well.
I agree. There's many people trying to help other people, which are not ready to help other people. They have to heal their own shit first before they should help anybody.
Yeah, and I mean, living in Bali and just seeing...
How many coaches are in Bali? It's probably like a plague, no? Spreading.
Yeah, I mean, there are some really, really, really good coaches out there, so I don't really want to like put dirt on their names.
No, not at all.
But also seeing the like online courses that have been put out there from people who should really see a therapist first. It's just mind blowing. So just the awareness of there are people who try to make money and don't only want the best for you.
I want to wrap it up because I think we had a good conversation. I'm very happy with all the topics in the breathwork. It was amazing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Annika.
I don't know. One more thing to wrap it up, because I want to ask the classical question.
Don't forget the gifts. So.
Yeah, no, that's the second part. Like I want to ask one of the classical questions, which would be, what would you like if you could talk to your 20-year-old self or your 18-year-old self? Like you've done all this trauma healing, and like you're like, what do you tell this person? Like, you know.
Good question.
What advice would you give? You're now you're starting the corporate life, you know? You're getting stressed, you're there. I mean, you're not 18, you're probably 22. You're getting stressed, like...
I think that experience in my past, I had to go through that. So I would not necessarily say, don't do that. I would just say probably surround yourself with people who are different than you, and always be open to learn. And just trust your intuition and what life brings you. But
Very
like,
nice.
because like, I feel like everything that I did in my life was there for a purpose. So I don't regret anything. It helped me.
Would you say that you initially went against your own intuition by just going into the corporate life, and you at some point that didn't work, and then you started listening to your intuition more, or?
No, not really. I really liked the corporate life for a while. I loved it. I loved traveling to Düsseldorf every week and like be this business girl and like attending meetings and, you know, proving myself.
I'm very important.
Exactly.
Exactly. Have my frequent traveler card, you know, going to the business lounges. I loved it to a certain time, like basically one day. And then I was like, oh, wait, okay,
This
stop.
sucks.
And then being able to change that is, of course, it was a great decision.
Yeah.
But I still liked it before, yeah.
What would you tell your 22-year-old self, Joshua?
Just do it. I don't know.
That's pretty much what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm also like Annika. Like I'm super happy with the decisions I've made, and I think the decisions make you who you are. As in, you have to. I had to learn a lot of things myself. But if I would tell a different, like I don't even know, I would do the same thing. But if I would tell a different person, I mean, I think I was quite lucky because I have been successful with business, but there's a lot of luck involved. As in, if you want to make a good amount of money or have a lot of business success, then not everyone will have that. You can try. A lot of people have good ideas and they try and they try and they try and it still doesn't work. You have to be in the right position in the right time, right? So I've looked back a lot. I mean, I'm 33, but I've looked back at what I've done. And my whole life, I was until now, which is not that long. Hopefully, I can live a lot more years. But my whole life, I was focused on basically sacrificing the now to gain like financial independence, or to always like looking for tomorrow to become at a certain point, and then I can feel relaxed, and then I can do what I want to do, right? So then I reached the goal at some point. I mean, a goal for me that was important to reach. And then I was like, I'm not happy.
I'm now relaxed.
I am not happy at all.
This was a lie.
This is all a lie. And then what was I doing then? I slowly was thinking, like, I have my boxing group at the beach, which I love, and I'm doing this, and does this cost money? No. Does this cost money? No. Like, I started realizing, as the idiot I still am, and like, actually, what makes me, why didn't I just do something that makes me happy? I mean, because now I'm lucky. I'm very lucky that something went right. But with that mindset that you constantly want to, you know, sacrifice it now and build something great or get something in the future, you're not guaranteed to have it. So if I was unlucky, I could have been 70, retired, or maybe like without that much success. But I know myself, I would constantly just try and try and try and try. And many people who just try and sacrifice everything for the now for an uncertain future that they want to achieve, they end up sacrificing their whole life. Basically.
So you would tell your smaller self it's about the journey?
I would first of all would say like,
the quote directly from Facebook to our podcast.
I wouldn't, it's difficult. I think I would just say, I would say like, don't do what you, basically just do it is what I started with, but I was like, just do something, do what you love, you know?
Okay.
And just because you don't know how long your life's going to be, and just do something you enjoy doing and build something out of that. Like, that's enough. It's enough, man.
It's enough. It's more than enough.
So to wrap it up,
Finally,
you brought a gift.
I brought a gift.
Which I asked you to bring. A gift. So
exactly.
It's like, hey, can you please bring something to the podcast?
Free will gift.
Exactly.
Do you want to open it?
Yeah, I mean,
it's very Bali.
Crystal shop. Let's see what's in there. Ooh, wow.
Oh, nice plastic.
Single-use plastic,
exactly.
Annika. Oh my God.
Man, I had to protect it.
Kali is whining right now.
Whoa.
Oh wow, what is that?
It's
a
awesome,
stone.
but what is it exactly? Is there an explanation?
Yeah, so it's a crystal, and I was at this crystal shop, and I was just looking around. I was like, I feel like I should bring a crystal, even though I'm not a big crystal person myself. And then one of my fellow students from the Breathwork course was there as well. She was like, oh, look at this crystal. I was telling her that I wanted to bring something to Barcelona. Pretty. And she said, what about this crystal? This is about emotional release. And I was like, this is so cool. A stone for like with the meaning emotional release. And I knew we were going to talk about breathwork. But then also, if you look at the stone, it looks like the beach in Bali.
Ah.
It does.
So you have the beach and then the ocean.
Wow.
And since
Good stuff.
I'm such an ocean lover, I was like, this is so perfect.
Awesome.
It is perfect.
A little piece of Bali in Barcelona
Awesome.
now.
Thank you
Thank you
very
so much, Annika.
You're very
And
welcome.
yes, every guest from now on has to be
Mandatory.
it's a
And
gift.
yeah, thank you very much for your time and sharing your story with us.
Thank you, guys.
I really enjoyed the
Thank you.
talk. And,
Thank you very much.
See you soon, hopefully.
Yes.
Hopefully, yes. And
See
if
you
we're ever
breathing.
in Bali, we'll be sure to ring up.
Yes, please. Let me know. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Very
you.
much.
Eyes on Growth is an original podcast produced by Inkulaleka Studios. Hosted by Joshua Molendakes and Luciano Ans. Editing by Sofia Vicentel. Thank you for listening and keep an eye out for our upcoming episode.